Hello, everyone. We are back again. Yes. And after last week's mishap, we managed to clean our house up and we are back again with the third event of season 4 and the 30th event of this initiative. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on which part of the world you have joined in. And whoo, what a event this is, right? And what a response. I can say that we are extremely overwhelmed by your response, by your messages, by your emails, and the support, least to say. And thank you everyone for standing by. And huge thank you to all the attendees who have joined in today again after struggling last week. And also heartfelt thanks to our speakers, our keynote speakers, our panels, our team who have managed their schedule to join us. So thank you, and thank you. As you all know, I am Priya Patra. I am the Vice President Outreach of the PMI Mumbai chapter, and I am the host for this session today. And we have Damike, our chapter leader from Sri Lanka chapter.
Everyone, I'm Dhammika Mendis. I'm the Executive Vice President of Sri Lanka chapter. Welcome you all for our chapter exchange event.
Thank you, Damike. And we have Arshad, our chapter leader from Germany chapter.
Hi everyone, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I welcome you all to this event. Yeah.
We have Priscilla, our chapter leader from PMI Sao Paulo, Brazil chapter.
Good morning from Brazil. I'm Priscilla from PMI Sao Paulo chapter.
Yeah.
I have been a PMI volunteer for many years. I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you, Priscilla. And we have Taiwo, our chapter leader from Nigeria chapter.
Good day, everyone. My name is Taiwo Popola. I'm Vice President for Professional Development, PMI Nigerian chapter, and I've been volunteering for PMI for like 10 years. Good to have you all here. Thank you.
Thank you, Taiwo. And Anita, are you on? If not, we also have Anita, from our chapter leader from Poland chapter.
Hello, yes, I'm here. Welcome. Welcome, everyone. It's Aneta from Poland, from Wrocław. I'm volunteer also for many years for PMI and active volunteer for PMI Chapter Exchange Initiative. Thank you, Priya.
Definitely very, very active volunteer of the PMI Chapter Exchange Initiative. Anita and Damike are also the co-authors of the book that we have authored last year, The Exchange Effect, and we will talk more about it in a little while from now. Now over to Priscilla for taking this forward.
Okay, so hello everyone. Welcome to PMI Chapter Exchange, Season 4, Event 3. And today we're going to discuss Metaverse. Is this our new wow, world of work? Today, we have our PMI friends joining in from 24 different PMI chapters from across the globe: North America, Latin America, Europe, Africa, and Asia, plus many more supporting chapters from the globe. Next, please. So let me introduce you the exchange effect map. For today's event, we have registrations coming from 67 countries. This is how our registrations look like today. Very exciting, isn't it? So we ask you, please say hello to each other and continue networking while we get started. Today, we are excited to announce we have 1,300 plus registrations, as I mentioned, coming from 67 countries to be precise, from Alaska to New Zealand and all countries and continents in between. So thank you everyone for this warm response to this initiative. Please let us know where you're joining from using the link shared at the chat. We inform you that this meeting is being recorded, so if you feel uncomfortable in any ways, you may choose not to attend. Else, you are welcome to continue. We also highlight that everyone here in this event are speaking on our individual capacity. So our views do not represent our organization's views in any ways. So, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for our guest speaker of the day, Antonio Rodriguez. Antonio needs no introductions. He's a world champion in project management and author of the Harvard Business Review Project Management Handbook. Antonio's research and global impact on modern management has been recognized by Thinkers 50 with the prestigious award Ideas into Practice. He's the Sustainability Transformation Program Director at GlaxoSmithKline Vaccines. He's also a PMI Fellow and past chair, professor, author, and an executive coach. So, welcome, Antonio, and thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you, Priscilla. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, all the organizers. It's an amazing, amazing event. I didn't realize how many chapters are involved until I just saw everybody speaking. I cannot imagine the effort that you put to get this event together. I also see the amazing speakers that you put together, Jen, Oliver, Organic. It's just amazing. So congratulations, first of all, to you. And also congratulations for these participants. I think we need people to learn very quickly about what you're talking here. I think artificial intelligence, metaverse, these were science fiction topics in project management 6 months ago. We didn't talk about it. We always thought that data was not there to make us use these technologies. And suddenly there's a massive, massive awareness, including PMI centrally, working heavily and promoting this. So I just prepare a couple of ideas that I want to share with you. Hopefully people, I'm sure, experts in the call like Oliver and other people will build on this or have different views. But basically, I think there's a couple of things I want to share. Project economy is here. One of the biggest challenges of companies, it's the amount of projects they have. I'm advising many, many big companies, L'Oreal, Google, and one of the common themes is, listen, Antonio, we know how many people we have. We know how many products we sell, but we don't know how many projects we have. We don't know. There's so many. Can you help us? So that's a big challenge because, yeah, companies have to build very quickly project management competencies. The second idea here is that everything gets disrupted except project management. Yet, success rate in projects, according to many research, is very poor, right? It's 70% of the projects fail. Again, you can argue how do you measure project success? Is it a triple constraint or is impact and benefits? We're not going into there. The statistics show that we don't deliver enough, and there's a huge room for opportunity. So my thinking is, okay, we had some great methods in project management, but they have to be reinvented. Yeah, prioritization is easy to do when you have 20 projects. You cannot do it when you have 2,000 projects. Project management methods are moving into hybrid methods. The silliest word that we've seen in this space was agile versus waterfall. 20 years wasted because you cannot do a transformation in any company with one method. That has been so wrong. We need a lot of methods, including agile, including traditional, including lean startup, including design thinking. So we need to evolve towards something that is much more user-friendly and approaching projects in a very different way. So that's the other thing. Project management has to be invented. It's not about one methodology on this. It's a tool set. Third, I think it's a mindset. And then I come to the AI piece. Project managers have been seen as people who deliver deliverables and artifacts and deadlines, but not the value. That was not their problem. That was the sponsor. That has to change right now. We need to feel empowered to deliver value. That's what companies want. You want to be credible in this space, they deliver value, benefits, revenues. savings, sustainability, diversity. This is what people want us. This is what senior leaders are asking me. Don't come up with deliverables. Tell me and give me value faster. So we need to step up. We need to feel empowered to go to the CEO of our company, say, listen, this project is going to fail unless we make this happen. Okay, so feel empowered to be stronger and to feel accountable of delivering benefit. Forget about sponsor and project manager. These are things from the past. Okay, so we need to feel strong to push, to drive change and benefits. And then on the AI space, I think, yeah, we've ignored it. We really didn't talk about it. We thought it would never impact us because there's no data enough to make these machine learning algorithms working. And actually, it's happening. There are a few startups who are already working in different spaces. There's people working on prioritization and selection of projects. They create machine learning algorithms that will help you to choose the best project. Always a human decision there. Reporting, 50% of what we do is bureaucratic. It's administration. It's chasing for data to make reports. Look at risk management issues. We shouldn't be doing that. We can do more if we focus on stakeholders, if we focus on benefits. So don't be afraid. Gartner said a few years, 80% of the job of a project manager probably will be done by AI, which I really love that. I can't wait that, please, tomorrow, because that gives us opportunity. When I see project manager, PMOs included, I know many people work in PMOs. That's a concept from the past, is going to be disrupted completely. So we need to embrace this. I think that's a very important opportunity. I love the topic of today because we need to reinvent the future. We need to reinvent project management using these technologies to deliver projects more successful, better, more value, and will become really, I think, the future leaders, the future CEOs in the companies in the next 10, 20 years will come from project managers who step up and drive change in this world. So I'm super excited to hear all the presentations. I've never seen such an exciting moment in the project management profession. We need to deliver. The stakes are very high. This is not, you cannot hide. Either you deliver or we are out and somebody else will take this space. So it's just very critical that we move fast and quickly and embrace all these new ideas. We try them, we learn from them, and we become better. So I want to leave it there. And thank you so much. I can't wait to hear all the presentations.
Thank you, Antonio, for that inspiring speech. And of course, as you rightly said, we have to be ready. We have to deliver. Otherwise, and we have to we have to change ourselves along with the trends. Otherwise, we either get disrupted or get washed off. So that's the message. Thank you, Antonio, for that. And thank you again for making your time and coming for this event. And Anita, over to you to share the screen and move to the next section of the event. We could also, if you have by the time Anita shares her screen, if you have any questions for Antonio, feel free to put on the chat window. Okay. Yes, we are still warming up, Antonio. There are no questions as of now. People are speechless. Okay. All right. So anyways, thank you. Thanks a lot for coming in and, gracing this occasion. And now we will move on to the next section of our event. And this is what our initiative is all about. And we stole this from our ex-CEO, Sunil Prasara, who said, one team, one song, and one dance. And these are all the chapters who are here today, the 24 chapters that we talked about. Ours is a chapter collaboration initiative, which means that we are a virtual community of chapter leaders. And as of now, we have 24 chapters and 3 supporting chapters in this program. I would say we represent almost all the regions in PMI today. So isn't that exciting? And our vision is to evangelize cross-chapter collaboration and encourage cultural diversity. And when we do that, we actually are learning from each other. And we like to call this as an exchange effect. Remember the map that Priscilla showed a few minutes back? We say the exchange effect is a phenomenon where many diverse connections come together to build innovative solutions, one connection at a time. So that's what we are. And now, Anita, if you can move to the next slide. Have you read about our Insight Exchange Nuggets? Well, these are basically some knowledge nuggets that we publish every month on the theme of the month. Now, this month's theme is the metaverse. And we have asked our panelists to give us some of their viewpoints on the metaverse so that you get a diverse viewpoint on a single topic. And this is published in the form of a knowledge nugget, which is below 10 minutes of reading. I know no one has time to read huge books or documents. So it's like a recap of this entire event in one document. And you can find them in our Mumbai chapter website. I will put the link on the chat window in a few minutes from now. Let's move on to the next slide. And this is the book that we were talking about. And we have documented our learnings also in the form of this book. We call this as the exchange effect. And these are the authors. Again, diverse people have co-authored this book, which means that, you know, we have gotten the best creative ideas in this book. So if you have a chance, do read the book. It's available on Amazon. And just to note that, you know, proceedings from the sale of these books goes to our chapters. The authors of the chapters who have co-authored this book. With this, let's move on over to Damike to introduce the Spotlight chapter of the month and the president of the Spotlight chapter, Jean Matange.
Thanks, Priya. Let me introduce Jean, president of PMI Kenya chapter. Jean believes in executing projects with finesse, and why not? Jean is an experienced consultant, practitioner, facilitator, and certification trainer in all facets of project, program, and portfolio management. All-round PMI, Prince 2 and PMD Pro project professional, and quality management system auditor. Leveraging strategic project management and ISO-based standards and practices to deliver value benefits in ICT projects, change management projects, and construction project management. Before I hand over the stage to you, Jean, can I ask you two questions? First one, what is the time they are now at your site and the date? And what does the logo of your chapter signify?
Jamaica, can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear.
Excellent. Okay, thank you so much for putting us on stage and spotlighting us. Right now it is 19 minutes past 5 p.m. It's late, it's getting into the late evening. And to your second question, we have our logo, the PMI Kenya logo has got the map of Kenya. And we are very well known. When you think about Kenya, you think about wildlife, but you also think about long distance runners. And so when you look at our country, you will see actually people and hospitality, which represents hospitality, our sport, and you know, just the human nature of what Kenya represents.
Let's move to the next slide, Anita.
Okay. Jamaica, you want me to proceed?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Chapter Exchange, for giving us an opportunity to spotlight PMI Kenya, and actually to welcome everybody on this platform to the regional conference. So before I start that, for the people who have never heard about PMI Kenya, we are part of the Chapter Exchange program, which has over 22 countries, I believe, at this time, Priya. And the PMI Kenya chapter is one of 22 chapters in the Africa region, in the Sub-Sahara region. We call ourselves a professional association with over 900. Actually, as at end of March, we were 950 professionals who practice in project and program management. We have a lot of programs that we run, especially outreach. We are very close to the youth. We have trained over 1,000 youth in various areas in PM life skills. And we also have a lot of students. We have got MOUs and partnerships with universities, local universities in Kenya, and that's because we want to actually embed project management right from the young. And that is the vision for PMI Kenya, is to entrench project management as a core competence in the country. And so we have in our groups, in the PMI groups, we have over 550 students who we are reaching out in one way or another, talking about project management, introducing them to what is real. And so this is something that actually we're trying to get right from the ground up. So we're very excited about what's happening in Kenya. We are one of the fastest growing chapters. And we are even more excited that we're going to be hosting the PMI Africa conference that you can see in front of you. This is going to be held in September between the 10th and the 12th of 2023. And let me tell you a couple of reasons why this should be a conference that you can consider coming in from wherever you are. The theme of the conference is the Africa we want, together we can. And if you saw the photographs of Kenya, actually, this is just one of the reasons that you would be attending, because Kenya is known as Magical Kenya, and we are known for some of the most beautiful destination safaris, our mountains, our bird watching. We have got a lot of beaches. We have got, in fact, the airport that you land into in Kenya is right in the national park. So we are one of the first ones with a capital city with a national park and an airport that is arriving into the national park. The venue of the conference is right next door to the national park. And so therefore you're going to get a good feel, not only of what Kenya is about, the magical destination, but we're going to be having some very good discussions in project management. We are so proud that this is going to be the first, one of the biggest conversations about project management in Nairobi, Kenya for the first time. And it's a place where you'll come and you'll network, you'll come and learn about project management. You'll come and get different perspectives about project management. It's only going to be an on-site kind of event. And let me just add that right now, the early bird special that ran until April the 10th, actually we were expecting about 550 people. Now we're expecting about 600. About 250 people have already registered just during the early bird. And so we're expecting actually a huge number of people to be coming in. PMI Kenya is very, very excited to be hosting everybody. And we're working so hard to make this a memorable event for you. Not just in terms of some of the content that you're going to hear, because we really want to make this so rich, so that we can actually have this good conversation. But we also want to combine that with some excursions. We've had so many requests for climbing Mount Kenya. We've had so many requests for doing hiking, doing some of the safaris. So we want to combine all that and make this an experience that you won't believe. So I think with those many words, Priya, maybe I can maybe just hand that back to you. But I would just like to say that we are all in this together. 22 chapters in Africa and a whole bunch of visitors from the outside, from the global continent are going to be coming in. So everybody is most welcome to come in and get to enjoy this fantastic event. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jean. And now we will play that wonderful video that you have sent us. So
yes,
I don't have any.
Jambo, jambo bwana, habari gani? Nzuri sana, wageni wakaribishwa. Kenya yetu hakuna matata.
Okay.
Karibuni sana. At least you can see we have the big five. We have got game life and game wildlife and everything. The birds happening. So back to you and welcome to Kenya.
Thank you, Jean. And with this, we will introduce the panel, the moderator of the day. So over to you, Damike.
Let me introduce you to our session moderator, Billy. So a little bit about Billy. He's a strategist, agile, risk, technology, and value stream management expert with over 18 years of experience in banking and mining sectors. TED speaker and leadership enthusiast who believes in unlocking the power in team members through diversity, equity, inclusion, and a sense of belonging his expertise. So his expertise lies in technology as a strategy vehicle, value stream management, enterprise agility, agile coaching and servant leadership, leadership and public speaking development, risk models, and ICT governance. So Billy, over to you to take over from here.
Okay, I think Billy got kicked off. I got a message from him on WhatsApp. So Billy, are you able to join in? I don't see him yet. Okay, so let me see where Billy is. Billy is not in. So Billy, while Billy joins in, I would, Anita, you can stop sharing. I would request the panelists to kind of introduce themselves. So let's start with Bola. Bola, could you introduce yourself and let us know about your expertise and what do you think about Metaverse?
Okay, Priya, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Bola Opel Oyelaki. I'm speaking from Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria. It's pretty much afternoon here. I'm the current Vice President membership of PMI Chapters Institute Nigeria chapter. I'm an architect, that's my primary discipline, and I practice architecture in the construction and technology industry. I've been in the technology industry for pretty much almost 10 years now in product development, specifically in EdTech. I'm currently the president of International EdTech Association in Quantic University. So it's a pleasure to be here to have this conversation with other thought leaders. Thank you.
Thank you, Bola. So what do you think, how Metaverse is going to impact the construction industry, just in one line, before we move on to the next panelist?
Okay, just like that theme says, is really the new way to work. Because when you're talking about Metaverse, we are looking at creating a new experience for professionals in the industry, all players in the industry. You know, there are a lot of challenges that the industry is currently facing, and I see Metaverse as one of the ways by which we can demystify some of these problems. Talk about the problem of effective communication, you know, talk about the problem of project planning. You know, one of the methodologies that we're familiar with in the industry talks about traditional method of construction. So with the deployment of technology, you know, it has necessitated us to begin to think about new ways by which we can deploy solutions and solve problems that are pertinent to the industry. So Metaverse is one of the technological tools that will help us, enable us to, you know, solve those problems.
Okay, thank you, Bola. And Billy is back. So over to you, Billy. I told you I'm your backup moderator. If you're not there, I will have to moderate the session. Anyways, thanks, Billy, for joining, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Priya, and thank you, Bola, for that amazing introduction. So just like Priya said, today we sit here covering the entire world, and we have a powerful panel ranging from somebody who is very, very adequate around the project management and project business. And we also have the construction expert who's just from speaking. We also have the academics, where we have a representation where we are going to listen to how we are preparing our students for the now, because it's no longer the future. And some of the important questions that have already been answered actually for now is that, can Metaverse really revolutionize the way we connect with each other, collaborate, and also co-create? And the other important question is, will the way we deliver projects be different? Is this our new world of work? Bola, thank you so much for that take. We have Dr. Sapuma. Dr. Sapuma is an expert in the academics. He holds a doctorate in data science from the Department of Information Systems and Analytics, School of Computing, National University of Singapore. He has had a lot of publications in his career. And today, I would just like to hear from you, Dr. Sapuma. What do you think is the impact of Metaverse in the academic world?
Thanks, Billy, for the introduction. I guess I'm audible, right? Just for the first check.
Yes, you are.
Thank you. So the world is going digital. There's no turning around. Metaverse is a place where there will be a blurring between the physical world and the digital world. So in academia, students, they will get much more flexibility. They will get much more flexibility in learning from other universities, from even other lecturers, as well as from around the world, getting knowledge from around the world. So that's the future, because it's going further digital.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sapuma. We also have the expert in project business management, and I would like to introduce Oliver now on this call. He's experienced in training, PMP, and many other certifications. And I'm very interested in knowing how the Metaverse is going to change the way that we collaborate, especially between the suppliers or the vendors and the clients. How do you think this Metaverse is really going to impact the way that we do our work?
First of all, thank you for the invitation to join you here. It's really a big pleasure for me to be here and to be able to talk about our topic. And the topic is super interesting, because we will see in much shorter time than we believe. This is changing the world very dramatically. And I see the topic with my favorite topic, project business management. I see it in two ways. One way is projects today are no more done just by customers, no more done by internal projects, most of them at least. They are done today by cooperation of customers and contractors and maybe subcontractors and so on. And one big question will be for sellers, for vendors of project products and services, how are we going to sell our own services? How are we going to convince customers that we are the better vendor than any other one? And I think this is one thing where we will see a dramatic influence in very short time of the Metaverse, because it helps us present our services, present our achievements of the past, of course, our professionalism, present this with new tools. And I see this already happening. I have some customers who do this already. And when you see how they sold their services 2-3 years ago and how they do it today now, it is really dramatic. What is happening there. There's another aspect that is interesting. Can companies do that alone? Can a company with so many years of experience and having been on the market for such a long time, are they able to do this alone, to welcome the Metaverse learn, use VR and use augmented reality and other things, use them alone? And the answer is quite simply no, because they are far too slow. So this is not only something that changes project business, it also drives new project business. It's a new business model, a new business opportunity for companies who offer their own services to others and say, hey, we help you enter this market. We help you enter this business. We help you make use of the metaverse. So I see business opportunities here for project vendors. I also see the challenge for these project vendors to use this for their paying customers and, of course, to use it for their own services. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oliver. Before I pose my next question, I would actually like to introduce the fourth panelist, which is the most important panelist, and this is the 247 people who are on this call. I just want to let you know that this is a conversation that we're having here, and would love to hear from you. We would like to hear your opinions and would love to interact with you in the chat box. As we go on, please ask as many questions as you can, and we're going to tackle them as possibly as we can. I want to come back to you, Dr. A question that I have around, we can assume that we all understand what Metaverse is, but I don't want to take that risk. So Dr. Sapuma, would you kindly just help with the separation of augmented reality and virtual reality? What are the differences, just under a minute, for the purposes of the people following us?
Okay. So when it comes to our digital experiences throughout the history, like first, all the time we are interacting with a screen. Like for example, this session, I'm looking at a screen, all the panelists, including Billy and all our friends, they are also interacting through a screen. So for example, like at the initial stage, it might be a SMS message. Then after that, with social media apps like Instagram, it was images being shared. And then it's now with TikTok and all that, it's videos. So, but still the limitation is it's a screen. So if it comes to AR, VR, again, still we have that limitation where we have to depend on a screen. So AR, VR, all those technologies will be part of Metaverse, but it's not the Metaverse. So what Metaverse is like, it's currently still people are exploring it. It's very new. It's currently happening. If you take some of these industry reports like Gartner, it's at a very early stage. And by like 2030, 35, that's the time when the Metaverse will be maturing. I think I saw a report from Gartner where they were saying that it's at an early stage and it's growing to the next stage, but maturing will take like 2030, 35, 40. So we are still at an early stage. We are exploring what can be done. No one knows like to what extent we can go. But I'll tell you one thing. If you take the world is very digital, as I said earlier. Like if you take like the new generation of kids, they spend around 2 hours minimum on social media or like with the phone screen. So there's no way turning back. And with the future, the time we spend with screens will be continuously growing up. So for example, I think it was Gartner again who has predicted, like I think within around 5 years, like people will be spending at least 1 hour in the metaverse. So what's exactly Metaverse? It's like a collective virtual shared space where everyone can connect their part to the Metaverse. It's like a combination of a lot of organizations, lot of communities, individuals joining it. And if I explain really well, it's the blurring between physical world and the digital world. So they're like very interesting things. I don't know whether I have time, really, like, or what do you think? Like it's in short, it's like the blurring with the physical world and the digital world.
Thank you so much. Thanks for forming that foundation. I will get back to you to just build up. I'd like to throw this question to Bola. You know, as you bring about the issue of limitations with this technology that we are delving in, and one of them is infrastructure. The second bit is skills. And for the skills, hold on that. There's a question that I'm going to pose, but Bola, I would like you to try and address what sort of limitations or challenges that we anticipate and how we can pivot to actually overcome them, especially from the construction perspective as we embrace the metaverse.
Okay, thank you, Billy. So if you're talking about the limitations that we're obviously are going to encounter, is basically about the adoption of this new way of working. Because obviously there are a lot of, like, let's even limit it, drive into some regions, particularly about Africa and some other developing economies. You know, you have the struggle about access to internet. And if we're talking about metaverse is the future of internet. Is really the future of internet, where you have a combination of all technologies. Talk about the extended reality, which comprises of the virtual reality, augmented reality, and the mixed reality. Then you talk about artificial intelligence, and you also talk about the deployment of cybersecurity. So looking at the dimension of all this require fast speed of communication of internet. So the question is, what kind of facility, what kind of infrastructure of communication available in all these locations? So, you know, a number of developing economies are laid behind in these regards. So there's going to be a challenge in adopting. Whereas the problems are the same across board. For instance, in construction industry, the challenges that we'll face in Africa in construction industry is similar to what we face in Europe. It's similar to what we face when you go other parts of the world. Okay, but the difference is in the adoption of technology, how they, implement, the new ways of working using metaverse. I'm even particular about the solution that metaverse offers when it comes to project initiation and project planning in construction, because the use of metaverse have been able to solve a lot of problems in this regard. So let me pause here so that probably by the time we talk about skills, we can dive more into some of the problems.
Thank you so much, Bola. Happy that you can hold that thought because people are itching. We have some questions here. Oliver, I think if you could come to the podium and try and answer this question. There's a question from the audience that when are we likely to start having professional encounters in the metaverse? Just from your extrapolation, would you have an idea when we're likely to start having professional encounters in the metaverse?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. We have them already in certain industries. They are already there. A customer of mine, they make electronic equipment for hospitals, for ORs, operation rooms. And in the past, when they had a new piece of equipment, what they had to do is to make a certain number of these items, then send them to testing centers, to presentation centers, then invite doctors to these centers, that they come there and that they see these items and can play a bit with them and see what they can do and so on. And this was all very expensive and very time intensive. What are they doing now today? What they are now making is a digital twin of this machine, of this piece of electronics, then put this in the metaverse and tell the doctors, please take this URL. There you see this new item. You can digitally, virtually play a bit with that, and you can see what this can do for you and how it can help you. And it saves them a lot of money. It saves them a lot of time. And in the end, this is a help to sell the equipment, of course, but at the same time, it sells projects, because to install the equipment, to connect the equipment with existing systems, these are all projects. So it is already happening. It is happening by the early adopters, of course, by those who are quick with such a technology, and they are all learning lessons now. They see the things that they hoped that would work well, that didn't work well, and other things, they got positive surprises. They didn't expect that much, and they found out, hey, it's extremely powerful for that. So what I think is we are already at that point, but it will intensify, of course, and we have to learn to make the best out of that. And we also have to see where are the limitations. And that's a learning process that we are going through at the moment. A very interesting one, of course. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I guess it's the importance of us having such a conversation, because then we get to share what's happening in the metaverse world. I'm happy to know that there's something going on and people are already using the metaverse professionally. And the question is, Are we ready to be early adopters, or will be the laggards, and miss out on this train? And speaking of that, it means for you to be an early adopter, you've got to have certain skill sets. And so this brings me to the next question from the audience, and I'll pose it to Dr. Sapuma. According to Antonio's speech and Gartner's predictions in the medium term of 80% of tasks in PM and PMO will be automated. And how are we going to cope with this shift and our skills for not going out of the market easily? So this is a threat on the kind of skill sets that we have and the tasks that we execute in the current status of project management. So Sapuma, how do you think we can pivot? What are those skills that you think a project manager is supposed to start unlearning in this world today?
Yeah, Billy. So as I said, like, as you all also said, like whether you are jumping into the bandwagon like early, or are you going to lagging? So as I said earlier, we are in the emerging phase of the metaverse. So it will be then going to the advanced stages and the nature stages. So I was listening to some like interesting speeches by I think it was from TWC, which showed the skill map which is required for metaverse. So they had three key sites. One was it was on the core metaverse technologies. This is for technical side. The other one was blockchain side, and the third pillar was data risk management side. So when it comes to metaverse, Web3 is a core technology which will be decentralized in the world, because that will be playing a very high role. So let's get to the topic. Like when it comes to project managers, they have to manage the projects, and where do they need the most skill? So if they are going to be in par with the metaverse, like if they're going to be like be more relevant with metaverse, the core thing is like they have to be more technically advanced. So the project managers, like going forward, they will have to take on the technology and learn the technology. So as I think the panelists also said, even the initial introduction said that data will be playing a key role. So in part of project management, analyzing the data, presenting the data, reporting the data, and also finding issues with the data is a key thing. Like before a project worsens. So earlier I heard like saying that around 70% of the projects fail. So if project managers get the skill of data analysis, and they get the skills of finding these issues, that will be a big thing. And in addition to that, like with that data analysis skill, in addition to that, one thing I need to say is, like, in my personal opinion, I do think with metaverse coming into play, project management will be much easier. So currently, if I go with another example, like for this event, we are all using English as a common language. So let's imagine that there's some person in somewhere in the world who cannot understand English. They cannot attend this event because they cannot understand it. But with metaverse, like with metaverse combined with artificial intelligence, natural language processing, if I'm talking with my own language, let's say I'm talking with my own mother tongue, Sinhalese, and Billy is speaking his mother tongue. So we can use AI, natural language processing, to do the translation of what I say in Sinhalese to your language in the real time. So how does this turn into metaverse? Like, you will remove all those language barriers, international collaborations will be much easier. So that will be there, like project managers will get a lot of benefit, as well as for them to stay on track, they will have to improve their knowledge on data analysis as well as the Web3 technologies. Yeah, that's it, what I see.
Thank you so much, Sapuma, for that submission. And really, from that question, you would understand that one of the major contributors to project failure is lack of collaboration amongst the stakeholders. So very interested and curious to see how this metaverse would actually bring people from across the world, multicultural setups, into one virtual room and see what the effect would be. There's a very interesting question that I've picked here, and I'll pose it across the board because I think it's a very critical question. It's around diversity, equity, and inclusion. So the question is, what do you think about the limits of the metaverse for people without broader access to the internet? And I know Bola partially spoke about this when he talked about the digital divide that we have, especially he cited the African arrangement. But what is very important is the next part of the question, that how do we deal with accessibility for people living with disabilities? So, because I know that sometimes in this metaverse, you need to have a device that you put so you can see the avatars as you are moving around the world to speak to people. Let's take, for instance, a blind person. So how do you think this metaverse is going to be inclusive for people with disabilities? I'll pose this question openly, and maybe let me have Oliver kick off, and then we can have other participants to jump on.
Should I begin? Sorry.
Oliver, did you hear the question?
Yes, yep, you heard it. The question. Let me start with the second part, with the disabilities. First of all, the metaverse will not make a blind person see, probably, at least. I don't see, so I would not have such a hope at the moment. But I think people with disabilities will have new opportunities so that they are more included in business and in teamwork and in other things. But people with disabilities, it brings some benefits. If someone cannot walk, now in the metaverse, you can have a meeting with others and you don't have to walk, because you come together in this metaverse, and in the metaverse you have an avatar that can do exactly the same thing as anyone else's avatar. So I think it can be far more inclusive. And even for people who are blind, I could imagine that, similar to Braille writing also, that they may have some surfaces where they can use their fingers to feel with the fingers things that other people would see with their eyes. So I'm sure we will see help for these people, and for them it may be more beneficial than for other people. Personally, I think for the moment now, this is not the main topic of the metaverse. I don't think it's about avatars. I don't think it's about meeting rooms where avatars come together and have meetings, because the avatars are still not developed far enough. We don't see facial expressions, and we don't see body language and all these things. It is still too immature, and I think it has to develop a lot of maturity. And this leads to the next question you this person asked, what about this digital divide? What about people who do not have the access to that, who don't have the technical access to that? And I think this is a negative aspect. The digital divide will become deeper and wider because we need more bandwidth for that. And I think in future we will need massively more bandwidth to do that, to bring things like facial expressions into the metaverse. But at the moment, I see the focus on other things. I see the focus not so much on avatars and on digital twins of people, but on digital twins of products, architecture. Yeah, if you have a new house that you want to build, that you can build the digital twin before the house is there and can use it. I think this is where the starting point is, and I think the avatar story will pick up later, will not pick up as the first one. It will come later. It's still too immature for that.
Thank you, Oliver. Paula, would you want to weigh in?
Yes, thank you. The first issue here for me is really to understand what Metaverse is. It's quite unfortunate that a lot of people don't really even know what Metaverse is all about. So to put a simple definition to Metaverse, is a 3D real environment that creates an immersive experience for people. Okay, so we're talking about avatar. Is a process by which people have this immersive experience compared to other forms of technologies like virtual reality, augmented reality, or mixed reality. It doesn't give the immersive experience. So in terms of how people with either visually impaired disabilities or other forms of disabilities will be included in Metaverse, I'm sure with the advancement in technology, artificial intelligence, and also the extended reality will definitely be improved upon to have this inclusion of such kind of people within our environment or within the community, so that they will be able to make use of this tool, because Metaverse is actually a tool that is meant to give us an amplified process or an enhanced process of assessing solution. Again, the digital divide is going to be a major problem that we need to, as project managers, begin to consider how to work around, because without internet, that's why Metaverse is the future of internet. Without internet, Metaverse cannot function. And don't be surprised, you have some people in Africa who don't believe even in the internet to start with. And probably when you go to some other climes across the world, you know, development of technology and communication technology is still a major issue. So how do we ensure that we have this broader perspective to adoption of technology, so that as technology is advancing, internet is developing, we can have the spread of this? And interesting thing about telecommunication is one of the ways by which networks of internet is being spread in different places. So it's high time that service providers, companies who are within that, who are within that industry in telecommunication, begin to think outside the box on ways to innovate the absolute adoption of internet and technology, so that when we are talking about Metaverse, there will be a strong drive for the adoption and solving all the problems that we are discussing about.
Thank you so much, Bola. I like the fact that you brought the issue of us understanding what the challenges we are about to face, or challenges that we potentially face, and us being the change makers and project managers on this score, it gives us a very, very strong impotence to begin to execute some social business cases that would lead to bridging that digital divide, you know, in the future. And Oliver, you raised a very important point around a phased approach to Metaverse. What vision do we have currently, and how can we leverage that? It speaks into having that early value, you know, realization from the vision that we have. So I like your contribution. There's another question that I would like Dr. Sapuma to answer. It's still around clarity on this thing called Metaverse. There's a question to say, what is really the difference between Metaverse and the virtual meetings that we have, such as the same one? Maybe in the simplest of terms, maybe using an example, could you kindly just elaborate for people's clarity so they understand what we are talking about?
Okay, so thanks really for this question, and I'll talk with an example which I heard in 2022 at Hong Kong FinTech Week by a person called Eberhard Schwaneberg. So he was doing this presentation. So he was saying, let's see what's the target of the Metaverse. So we sometimes have very unfortunate birth events where children are born with their human organs connected. So sometimes in very rare scenarios, we can see children getting like twins getting born with their brains connected. So it's two different people, one in the left and then another in the left. So you have to do very complex operations to separate them out. So if there have been experiments done, like this is what I quote, experiments done, where when their brains are connected, you close the eyes of the right child and show something to the left child. And then ask the right child what was shown to the left hand child. The right hand child can remember this image. This child never saw it. It was seen by the left hand child, like the child on the left side. So, however, when you ask questions about it, let's say you showed some waterfall or like a forest or an animal, the right hand child can recollect this. So this is because of their brains being connected. So at the beginning, I said Metaverse is blurring the physical world and the digital world. So when it comes to Metaverse, the target is that. Like I'm in Colombo, Sri Lanka. The same experience I get, you can get while you are at your home. So let's imagine that this is like going beyond the screens that we use for communication. It's going with sensory advancements where we are making our physical life blended with the digital life. So that blurring goes. So I'll give you another example. So our ultimate target is that two children who are connected in their brains, where the other person can recollect what the other person did. So these two people can be completely two different personalities. One person might be very talkative, other person might be silent. One person might be liking drama, the other person might be liking sports. So let's say I'm at a concert, I'm at a Taylor Swift concert, and I'm there live. And if there's some technology like with brain communications, with AR, VR, and everything, where you, while thousands of kilometers away in Kenya or in Germany, if you can get the same experience through this technology as if you are at the exact live Taylor Swift concert, that's the ultimate target of Metaverse, where you get a much more immersive experience beyond the digital physical boundary we have. So the current boundary with digital world and the physical world is because of this screen that we are relying on. Even now we are depending on the screen. So when you remove that, that's the target. Thanks.
Thank you so much. You summarized it very well in what it means when we say Metaverse is an experience. So when we immerse ourselves, it stimulates our feelings, our emotions, and everything, rather than just watching the screen. Thank you so much for making that very, very clear. There is a question that I anticipated. I thought it was going to come first, actually, but it has come. Here it is. And thank you so much to all of you who are following us, the 241 people asking those questions. Please keep them coming and do not shy away from also commenting. Throw your opinions, not just questions. If you may have an answer to one of these questions, please feel free to send those answers. Here's a question, and I'd like Oliver to pick this first. Will Metaverse really take off? That's the question. There's a reference to this question. We were seeing very high uptake on online e-commerce economic during COVID-19. However, it has moved back to normal post-COVID. Will it really make sense to invest in the Metaverse for enterprises?
So the last question, of course it does. Yes, it will do for some organizations. The question is, what can you expect from that? The other question, will it really take up? I think we will see a development here. We will see some things starting up early and other things coming late. At the moment, for me, Metaverse, I see two approaches to that. One approach is Facebook's approach, which is, what can we do to make it cool? They want to make everything cool because this is their business model. Everything has to be cool. I see the other approach, a company like TeamViewer, they have the approach, what can we do to make it economically viable, to get some benefit, business benefit out of that. And I think in the short term, the approach of TeamViewer is the better approach, to ask what can we do with the Metaverse, with these tools and with these techniques to help organizations do something better. There's another question, by the way, and this question I think is tightly linked to the question that you just gave me. Is the Metaverse just virtual, or will it be a mixture of the real world and the virtual one? And I think that's an important aspect of exactly that point. For the moment, the majority of applications is virtual reality, because virtual reality is simpler. You have your environment inside a virtual room, and it does not have to interact with reality. I think long-term, the future of the Metaverse will be far more augmented reality than virtual reality, because it's more challenging. Your software has to communicate with the real world, and this is much more difficult. But the benefits are much more there, where the Metaverse connects and interacts with reality. I think this is where we will have the long-term benefits. And back to the question, does it make sense to invest today? If you don't do it today, it may be too late later for you to invest in this technology. I would do it today. Otherwise, you get lost. You get left behind. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm sure asking that question is going back into time and asking Kodak to say would digitizing the way we take photographs make sense in the future. And I'm sure at that point they didn't have a clear answer. And here we are today. You know, many companies are folded because they didn't foresee this world where we have small phones taking high resolution photos. Thank you so much, Oliver, for that response. I would like Bola to take on this next question. Interesting. Now let's bring it back to project management, because we have a lot of project managers on the call. So I'll pick on this question. What will be the role of project managers in ensuring success of new projects, especially the one which are exploratory, which is that just a testing version of the technology, we're not too sure about it, or getting the benefit for the business? So I want to go through that question again. I'm just reading it as it is. What would be the role of the project managers, you know, especially to ensure that the success of new projects, especially the ones which are exploratory, getting the benefit for the benefit, getting the benefits for the business? Did you get that question, Bola?
Yes, I do, Billy.
Okay.
Our role is pretty simple, because as project managers, we manage, we control, we coordinate project processes, we drive project success. And like I mentioned earlier on, there are a number of problems that we encounter in going about our roles and responsibilities on projects. So adopting this new way of working will enable us to provide solutions to some of those problems. When you take each of the project phases and you look at the activities that involve, what you need to do, engaging the different stakeholders, you can actually adopt technology. You know, one of the narratives before even the conversation around Metaverse, you know, ensued, we've been talking about the adoption of technology in project management. So this is a good opportunity for us to have the full adoption, because we now have technology being operated at a higher level to solve a lot of problems for us. With Metaverse, you know, bringing in or introducing things like the full expression of artificial intelligence, robotics, pretty much becomes easy. The use of digital twins become easy. You know, when you're doing project design, okay, you can easily make use of these technologies for you to simplify the tasks, for you to engage your team members. When you're coordinating when you're engaging your team members virtually, talking about managing virtual teams, you know, Metaverse gives you the opportunity to simplify your work of coordinating all these activities. So I want to believe that our roles are more like taking, you know, the pioneer stance, you know, driving the full adoption of technology, and also educating stakeholders. Because I want to believe that in many industries, why there won't be that adoption is because of lack of knowledge. So probably in the process of project management, we need to also look at how we need to educate stakeholders on the importance of technology and the importance of Metaverse as the new way of working.
Thank you so much, Bola, for your contribution. So Puma, there's an interesting question here that I'd love you to pick on. So the question reads: it seems that Metaverse itself requires a lot of components to be feasible and accessible for everyone. And it seems for me that this is something important, but still in the future. It's kind of discussion happening tomorrow and tomorrow. By the other hand, how do you think project management and PMI can utilize the components of Metaverse, AI, AR, blockchain, NFTs, and others to improve methods and really add value to project experiences and results from today?
So I'm not a project manager. I'm from a different field, but what I feel is like for any success of a project, communication is the key. Like understand the body language, getting the message right across. So for that, there's lots of technologies required. So like if you compare 30 years ago, we are now very far away, and in the coming years there will be further and further good technologies. So now today, like with WebEx, we can like easily have 3,000 people in this conference. So what I personally think is with artificial intelligence, there'll be a lot of opportunities coming in, especially like if you take the language translation area, that's the key for communication. Like whatever we communicate, we use a certain language to communicate. So there might be barriers, like when we're working with certain people, like they are working with their mother tongue, we cannot communicate, and if they are using a secondary language. With Google, like let's say if you take Google Translate, like you can within milliseconds you can do translations from one language to another. So imagine, like as I said earlier, like imagine if we have the technology where we can do the real-time audio translation. I talk in my language and it's converted to your language, and it's perfect. So this is already been happening, and it's nothing that the technology is getting advanced. There's lots of very interesting natural language, like this is just one example, natural language processing tools. So for example, even like low resource languages, like languages which are not having a large community, there are lots of academics and researchers contributing. So likewise, this communication barrier will be eliminating in the future. So that has already happened. Like it's one of the most advanced technologies right there, and it will keep on furthering. And if we can have that immersive experience, like that we are, if we can break the barrier that we are thousands of miles apart because of this screen, then that's what the next technology evolution should happen. So that's where like all this AR VR is coming in, like the first phase, but it's not the final phase. So that side of technology improvement, where like we can improve the collaboration, like we can improve the live collaborations in digital world, that is still going to happen. So that's what is to happen. But so far in the metaverse, the language communication, that side has grown really well. And if I go to a question that was posted by you about the digital infrastructure, like of course, right now if we go full metaverse, there will be lots of people losing out. But over the years, we have seen lots of technology coming up. Internet has become more feasible to implement. Lots of high bandwidth is there, and it has come, the price of the technology has gone down. So over time, technology will continuously improve. And when people are challenged with these technological demands, like for example, if you say like you need this much of bandwidth for the metaverse to run, then that technology will evolve. And that technology will happen, like the evolutions will happen when people are challenged. So we have seen world wars coming and people getting challenged, and they improving their technology. So metaverse is something like that, where like when you are challenged further, that technology evolution will happen, and there will be a time, like it might be the next decade, where everyone in the world can join the metaverse with these advanced technologies. That's what I see.
Thank you so much, Sapuma, for sharing that thought. And I totally agree with you. I think it's more about us identifying the challenges that we are facing today and being part of this train in coming up with solutions that would be, that can be applied with the visions of the metaverse as we move forward. I think it would be, it won't be that steep learning curve if we started with it right now. Thank you so much. Oliver, I'm going to concatenate two questions for you. And so the first question is, what are the metaverse projects in mid-sized companies? What are the metaverse projects in mid-sized companies? And I would like to join this question with the next one because it speaks into project management, change management. So it says, how can project managers use change management to foster a culture of innovation and continuous improvement in the context of metaverse? And how can they ensure that project teams are empowered to drive innovation within their projects without the aspect of AI fully taking control?
Let me answer the first question first. I think for a mid-sized organization, you would every organization is different. Their businesses are different. Their markets are different. Their setups are different. So the thing is, someone should go into this organization and say, okay, show me what you are doing. Show me your business. And I may be able to show you areas where you can save money by using augmented reality or virtual reality. I can show you processes that you can simplify or that you can accelerate and so on. So I think number one is you cannot do it alone because you don't know what this technology can. And it's incredible what it can already. And we are just at the beginning of this technology. So you will need some help. The other question is, how can you influence the market? Can you use it for sales? Can you use it for customer services? Can you use it for repair, for instance? It's well usable for people who are doing repairs and doing repair services. This is so helpful what the Metaverse can already do, but you would have to know what this specific company is doing. I don't think it's related to corporate size. It is related to the speed that they have and to the preparedness to make some money available for that. Of course, you don't get it for free, to make some money available. And I think companies should do it soon because this train is running away. And if you come late, you will no more be able to catch this train that is running away at the moment. The second question was about, what was it?
It was about the change management.
Exactly.
How to incorporate,
Exactly.
yes.
I have a bit of problem with the word change management because there is some confusion. Some people use it really for change management. Others use it for change control or change request management, which I wouldn't do, by the way. I assume it is really meant for organizational change. Yes, organizations will, of course, change because the tools they use, the techniques they use, the methods they use, influence them back and change these organizations. As a project manager, what I would do is keep my mind open, keep my eyes open, read a lot, watch videos on the topic, try to use, have talks with good people, of course, try to use every opportunity to see what is happening in this field, what is happening in this industry, and find out those elements where you think they can be beneficial, A, to your project, of course, but B, also to the entire organization. And if you do customer projects, which is now today my main client, most people that I work with, they have projects as profit centers. Then the next question is, of course, how can we make profit from that? How can we bring business into the organization with customers so that we can earn money with that? And there is a lot of money in virtual and in augmented reality. This is an opportunity that corporations will either use early or they will have difficulties to use them at all because development is so fast. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oliver. So the train keeps moving. It's our decision to either jump in front of the train or jump on the train. And I think we have a lot of work to do to equip our members with the requisite skills that it takes for them to jump on the train and be part of the new way of waking. Ahmad, I would like you to fire up our poll as we continue to discuss into the next question. I'd like to fire up the poll. Our participants joining us from all over the world, please, can you respond to the poll, and we will pick some questions from the results of the poll. Thank you very much. I see people are already responding to the poll. Thank you very much. Fantastic. As we respond to the poll, I would like to pose a question to Bola. I know we've already talked about the benefits and the drawbacks of using Metaverse in our new way of waking. You know, the question that I wanted to ask is around regulation. Already we're struggling as a world today with countries, you know, passing regulations to localize data in a world that wants to bring itself together. And so what are the potential regulatory limitations that you see in this metaverse world? Because then it even becomes more real because individuals are exposing themselves into this metaverse world and they don't know where the data is being stored in terms of privacy. So what are some of those challenges that you foresee, and what are the potential areas of focus for governments going forward?
Okay, thank you, Billy. So I see two potential regulations in two critical areas. Number one, talk about cybersecurity. because it still boils down to how to manage the use of internet at a faster speed now. Okay, the major issue is about cybercrime and all of that. So in metaverse, these also has to be considered. So there has to be a strong regulation in ensuring that there's proper security. And again, we also talk about the regulations around cultural interactions, because metaverse is going to be an enhanced process of spontaneous collaborations. So how do you ensure that people collaborate within set boundaries and set limits, okay, so that people's rights are not infringed upon and all of that. So there has to be strong conversations around these new ways of ensuring that there are limits and restrictions to how people are governed, how they behave within the metaverse.
Thank you very much. Dr. Sapuma, did I see your hand up? Did you want to contribute something?
Not on my side, I think so.
All right, okay. Oliver, I know Oliver and I have had a lot of discussions around the project business phenomenon, and one of the issues that are very, very critical in terms of the pillars is a disparity in terms of regulations and law. I would like to get your take on this one, almost like a similar question that I posed to Bola. Which areas do you think we need to look at, and how do you think we can begin to influence governments early enough for the policymakers to prepare for this metaverse world?
Yeah, I think we will see a lot of abuse. Criminal people, corrupt people will, of course, find ways to make use of that. And the problem is we don't know how they will do that today. This is something we will also have to learn. We have to be attentive to that. We have to watch out what is going on in the world. We will have to look how people abuse the new technologies for corrupt and for criminal things. And then the politicians will have to respond to that. Unfortunately, at least in Germany, but I think it's the same all around the world, politicians are not very quick in that. It takes them a lot of time from the moment that they notice that something is going wrong here and that there are some regulations needed until these regulations are there. And the next problem is our politicians are poorly educated in the whole thing. They are not educated, of course, in project business management, but they're also not educated in the threats and in the opportunities, of course, that come with augmented reality and with virtual reality. So there will be a learning process and there will be mistakes. We will see that. And we have to take care for ourselves. We should take care for the people around us, for our organizations, that things don't go wrong. And as soon as we notice there is some misuse, some abuse done somewhere, we have to talk about it. We have to make sure that everyone is aware of that, because this is the worst thing for fraudulent people. This is when everyone understands the fraud and knows the fraud. This is their weakest spot that they have, and people can protect themselves. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Oliver. And I see someone agreeing with you as you were speaking to say we need to consider the ethics around the technology. Yes. And what I always pose on people is this challenge, especially the change makers from all over the world on this call, is that it is our call to actually be part of this conversation. How are we starting to be influencers? How are we lobbying for governance? How are we lobbying for ethics around the development of these things so that they don't come at the tail end once the damage has already been done? Thank you so much. Sapuma, there's a question. Will metaverse not lead to more distance from real human to human connection, which is very much needed for us to collaborate? And I'll be very honest, I'm one of those leaders who actually like the human connection. Now, the question and the fear is, will this metaverse not lead to more distance from real human to human connection?
So, yeah, that's some concern that we should have, like, our human to human connection, like if we are living in a virtual world, if we are looking for the virtual experience, that might go away. But just imagine if we didn't have metaverse, or if we even have these digital platforms. Today, right now, I'll be only having my network with the people I meet. Today, Billy, I have met you across this platform. So Metaverse will open up a lot of other people to connect. So there might be a drawback, but it will open up. Like I might get to know people in like the farthest away, like in South America, then people in Japan, people in UK, people in Kenya. Like I will get more opportunities. That's what I see, like to connect with further people with my interests and like where our interests match. And I'll just add one more point to the previous question about the governance, about the technology governance. I'll just take a minute. So generally, when it comes to web technologies, online technologies, we had three phases. The first phase was known as Web 1, where organizations were only publishing data. So this was the era where like various news agencies, Yahoo, AOL, they were publishing online. So currently we are in Web 2 era where we can create content with social media like Web 2.0. But the problem with Web 2.0 is we don't have the digital property rights for our data. So most of these privacy and property rights are controlled by big, large organizations. It might be Google, it might be Facebook. Metaverse will be powered by Web 3.0, which will be a decentralized internet, which will be giving that right to you. So you have more control of your data and how you share it. Thanks, William.
Thank you so much. Gents, on this call, we could go on and on and on. The conversation is becoming more interesting as we go on, but whatever goes up must come down. We were time bound, and any project has a start and an end to it, right? So we need to work within time. We are remaining with roughly 4 minutes to conclude. And I have seen the responses to the first question. At least most people think that the metaverse will affect us immensely, and some of them think little or no impact will be experienced. Just in a minute, your last thoughts, Oliver, just under a minute.
I'd like to answer a question that I just saw. And the question was, where is it already in use? Where is the metaverse already in practical use so that corporations or the private people can do something with that? And I have indeed an example for that. And this is a German automotive industry. They use, meanwhile, metaverse, they use augmented reality to count their inventory. Can I just share a screen quickly? What they do is they have glasses like this one. It is still very, very crude. This is still not well developed. This is, do you see the share?
It's coming up.
It's coming up, yeah. Just to show what they do. They have this kind of glasses. Yeah, it's still crude. I think in 5 years they will look differently, and in 10 years they will be invisible. I hope so, at least. Yeah, but this is what they have at the moment. And now what they do is they go into their warehouses. They look at a pallet with boxes on top, and the software counts these boxes on this pallet. Then they go to the next pallet, and the software counts the boxes on the pallet, and so on. Instead of having people there, yeah, putting the boxes at the sides and back and so on. And it's very time consuming, and it's a lot of work and sometimes hard work for them to count these boxes and take inventory. This is now a matter of per pallet, a matter of seconds that they do that, and it gets automatically documented. They don't have to write things down and type this into a computer again also. No, it's already in the system, and it's very, very reliable. I'm just finishing the share here. Sorry.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
yes, thank you so much, Oliver.
Yeah, and it shows us. And it shows us that it is already in use. It is there. Yeah, we are not talking about future. We are talking about the present.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for bringing that to life. At least we were able to see you there. Dr. Sapuma, your conclusion in a minute.
So my main concern with Metaverse is that the Metaverse, it's not just one organization. It's all of us. It should be open, and it should be like everyone can connect, right? So one of my key concerns with the Metaverse is that if the metaverse development is driven by the current organizations driving the dominant web platforms, let's say, I'm not against Facebook or Google or Amazon, but we might see the current online problems magnified. So we need a much more open, broader framework to develop metaverse, and it should be open for everyone to connect and contribute. So metaverse, it's a connection of shared spaces where everyone comes in, and it's not owned or controlled by an organization. If that happens, that will be very risky. So my goal and like my wish for metaverse is that it should be decentralized and we should have control of our data.
Thank you so much. There was a comment that those glasses suited Oliver, and I totally agree on that comment. Bola, under 1 minute, what are your concluding remarks?
Okay, thank you. So as project managers, we are supposed to be pioneers of new development, across the different divides of project economy. We need to drive the adoption of these new technologies, because as change makers, we are meant to solve problems, and there are easy ways by which we can solve problems. Technology can help us achieve this. So I'm looking forward to a number of us, deploying metaverse having full adoption of metaverse into our processes, as we relate with stakeholders, as we develop new frameworks. And I'm also looking forward to PMI, adopting the process of, the understanding of these new technologies in the different body of knowledge across the different certifications. Thank you.
Thank you so much. On that super cool note of those super cool glasses that Oliver shared, we come to the end. And I will not create the conclusion because we have a special person doing the conclusion. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining us. And I'll hand back the podium to the person who's going to take us through the amazing conclusion of this conversation. Back to you, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much. And now over to Taivo for your key findings from the session, please.
Thank you. To be honest, I must say that there are a lot that have been said that I don't even know where to wrap up from or to conclude from. A lot has been said about data analysis. The digital divide is another reality that we have to deal with. And Metaverse makes us to experience the new reality. Virtual reality, augmented reality is all about, Metaverse is all about reality. And it's important for all of us, especially the project managers, to be the leaders. We have to take the leading role because we are the pioneer of solution provisions. Project managers are seen to be solution providers and change makers. So we have to take the leading role. Our Metaverse has also come to ensure to improve our collaboration in virtual rooms. Adoption of technology was also talked about, and the simplification that Metaverse will bring in on board on the way we handle projects is there. And the abuse cannot be overemphasized, according to Oliver. And then the regulation is another thing that is important. So people are also concerned about the security of their data. So is our data going to be secured? That's another reality we have to deal with in Metaverse. And how do we get prepared for Metaverse? We need to invest. And this kind of investment has to be intentional, according to our speakers. And also, in terms of investment, it has to be investment in the skill set and the mindset. It's not just only about the skill, also the mindset that this is our new reality. So if you look at all of this, artificial intelligence cannot be ruled out of this Metaverse game. And for project managers that are still sitting back, that have not embraced technology, we need to embrace technology at this point, because artificial intelligence is going to take over 80% of traditional project management. So we need to invest and adopt technology. So if you look at all I've said, new experience, a lot of things have been said. But one thing is common across all of these things is reality. virtual reality, our new reality, everything is about reality. So I would like to summarize by just saying our metaverse is reality. And the R stands for our readiness in embracing technology. And the E, metaverse will make us to experience the virtual reality. And A, the artificial intelligence that cannot be ruled out. Then L, project managers need to take the leading role. So the leadership in this reality belongs to the project managers. And I is we have to invest in skill set and mindset, not just only about, okay, metaverse is here. How ready are we? What kind of investment are we making? So the I is about the investment. And we can't talk about metaverse without talking about how technology is going to play a major role. So the T is for technology. And then the doctor said it's not just about the company that is doing it. Metaverse is you. It belongs to every one of us. So the Y is metaverse is you, Billy. Metaverse is you. So reality is my watchword here. Readiness, experience the virtual reality, augmented reality, leading role belongs to the project managers. Invest in skill set. Technology is here to stay, no matter how much you want to run away from it. And Y stands for you are the metaverse. So the amount of readiness that you make, the amount of investment you make, determines how you will be able to play in this space. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Taiwo, for a fantastic wrap up.
Thank you, Anita.
And now I would like to thank all of our panelists for accepting the invitation to participate in our event. So thank you, Bola. Thank you, Dr. Sapomal, Oliver. Really, really appreciative that you made it today. Thank you to our special guest, Antonio, to Billy for moderating the session, to Jean for your fantastic presentation about PMI Kenya and conference. And thank you to all of you who joined our event today. Please give us your feedback. You can scan the QR code. And of course, for PMI members, for certification holders, you can also submit PDU code for attending today's session. On top of that, I would like also to thank you to our team. So Taiwo, again, thank you for the wrap up. Damika, thank you for your fantastic flyers and social media posts. Priscilla, thank you so much for helping us with moderating questions coming from the audience and for your analysis of participation today. And Sunil and Ahmad, thank you so much for your help as a WebEx admins. And participants, thank you so much for being so active, engaged. Thank you for supporting our event. And we will meet again next month.
Thank you to Anita. Thank you to Anita as well.
Thank you, Taiwo. So we will be back in the next month. We will be discussing very interesting topic of building a brand of a project manager. So stay tuned for communications from us. And yeah, I think this is it. And also, of course, thank you to Priya. Yes, Priya had to go, but she has started kick off to this event. Thank you again for today's meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.